Chapter 20. The downside of creating good habits. Habits create the foundation of mastery. In chess, it is only after the basic movement of pieces have become automatic that a player can focus on the next level of the game. Each chunk of the information that is memorized opens up the mental space for more effortful thinking. This is true for an endeavor. When you know the simple movements so well that you can perform them without thinking, you free to pay attention to more advanced details. In this way, the habits are the backbone of any pursuit of excellence. However, the benefits of habits come at a cost. At first, each repetition develops fluency, speed, and skill. But then, as a habit becomes automatic, you become less sensitive to feedback. You fall into mindless repetition. It becomes easier to let mistakes slide. When you can do it good enough on autopilot, you stop thinking about how to do it better. The upside of habits is that we can do things without thinking. The downside of habits is that you get used to doing things a certain way and stop paying attention to little errors. You assume you are getting better because you are gaining experience. In reality, you are merely reinforcing your current habits, not improving them. In fact, some research has shown that once a skill has been mastered, there is usually a slight decline in the performance over time. Usually, this minor dip in performance is no cause for worry. You do not need a system to continuously improve how well you brush your teeth or how you tie your shoes or make up your morning cup of tea. With habits like these, good enough is usually good enough. The less energy you spend on trivial choices, the more you can spend it on what really matters. However, when you want to maximize your potential, achieve elite levels of performance, you need a more nuanced approach. You can't repeat the same things blindly and expect to become exceptional. Habits are necessary but not sufficient for mastery. What you need is a combination of automatic habits and deliberate practice. Habits plus deliberate practice is equal to mastery. To become great, certain skills do need to become automatic. Basketball players need to be able to dribble without thinking before they can move on to mastering layups without with their non-dominant hand. Surgeons need to repeat the first instruction so many times that they could do it with their eyes closed so that they can focus on the hundreds of variables that arise during surgery. But after once has been mastered, you have to return to the effortful part of that work and begin doing building the next habit. Mastery is the process of narrowing your focus to a tiny element of success, repeating it until you have internalized the skill, and then using this habit as the foundation to advance to next frontier of your development. Old tasks have become easier the second time around, but it does not get easier overall because now you are pouring your energy into the next challenge. Each habit unlocks the next level of performance. It's an endless cycle. Although habits are powerful, what you need is a way to remain conscious of your performance over time so you can continue to refine and improve. It is precisely at the moment when you begin to feel like you have mastered a skill, right when things are starting to feel automatic and you are becoming comfortable, that you must avoid slipping into trap of complacency. The solution: establish a system for reflection and review. How to review your habits and make adjustments. In 1986, the Los Angeles Lakers and one of the most talented basketball teams ever assembled, but they are rarely remembered that way. The team had started in 1985-1986 NBA season with an astounding 29-5 record. The pundits were saying that we might be the best team in the history of basketball. Head coach Pat Riley said after season, surprising the Lakers stumbled in 1986 playoffs and suffered a season-ending defeat in the Western Conference Finals. The best team in the history of basketball did not even play for the NBA championship. After that blow, Riley was tired of hearing about how much talent his players has and about how much process his promises his team has held. He didn't want to see flashes of brilliance followed by a gradual fade in performance. He wanted the Lakers to play up to their potential and night after night. In the summer 1986, he created a plan to do exactly that, a system that he called the Career Best Effort Program or CBE. When players first joined the Lakers, Relay explains, we track their basketball statistics all the way back to high school. I call this taking their number. We look for an accurate gauge of what a player can do, then build him to our plan for the team based on the notion that he will maintain and then improve upon his averages. After determining a player's baseline level of a performance, really added up to key step. He asked each player to improve their output by at least 1% over the course of the season. If they succeeded, it would be a CB or career best effort. Similarly to the British cycling team that we discussed in chapter 1, the Lakers sought peak performance by getting slightly better each day. Relay was careful to point out that CBE was not merely about point or statistics, but about giving your best effort spiritually and mentally and physically. Players got credit for allowing an opponent to run into you when you know that a foul will be called against him. Diving for loose balls, going after rebounds, whether you are likely to get them or not, helping a teammate, whether the player he is graduating, guarding has surged past him, and other unsung hero deeds. As an example, let's say Magic Johnson, the Lakers' star player at the time, had 11 points, 8 rebounds, 12 assists, and 2 steals, 5 turnovers in a game. Magic also got credit for an unsung hero. He did by diving after a loose ball plus 1. Finally, he played a total of 33 minutes in this imaginary game. The positive numbers 11 plus 8 plus 12 plus 2 plus 1 adds up to 34. Then we subtract 5 turnovers, 34 minus 5 to get 29. Finally, we divide 29 by 33 minutes played. We get 0.879. Magic CBE number here would be 879. This number would be calculated for all players, and it was the average CBE that a player was asked to improve by 1% over the season. Relay compared each player's current CBE to not only their past performances but also those of other players in the league. As Relay put it, we rank team members alongside league opponents to play the same opposition and have similar role definitions. Sports writer Jackie McMullen noted Relay trumpeted the top performance in the league in the bold lettering on the blackboard each week and measured them against the corresponding players on his own roster. Solid, reliable players, players generally rated a score in the 600s, while elite players scored at least 800. Magic Johnson, who submitted 138 triple doubles in his career, often scored over 1000. The Lakers also emphasized year over year by progress, making a historical comparisons of CBE data. Relay said we stacked the month of November 1986 next to November 1985 and showed the players whether they were doing better or worse than that at the same point last season. Then we showed them how their performance figures for December 1986 stacked up against November's. The Lakers rolled out CBE in October 1986. 8 months later, they were NBA champions. The following year, Pat Riley led his team to another title as the Lakers became the first team in 20 years to win back to back NBA championship. Afterward, he said sustaining an effort is the most important thing for any enterprise. The way to be successful is to learn how to do things right, then to do the same way every time. The CB program is prime example of power of reflection and review. The Lakers were already talented. CB helped them to get the most of out of what they had and made sure their habits improved rather they declined. Reflections and review enables the long-term improvement of all habits because it makes you aware of your mistakes and helps you consider possible paths for improvement. Without reflection, we can make excuses, create realization, and lie to ourselves. We have no process for determining whether we are performing better or worse compared to yesterday. The performers in all fields engage in various types of reflection and review, and the processes does not have to be complex. Kenya runner Eliud Kipchoge is one of the greatest marathoners of all time and an Olympic gold medalist. He still take notes for after every practice in which he reviews his training for the day and searches for the areas that can be improved. Similarly, gold medal swimmer Katie Ledecky records her wellness on a scale of 1 to 10 and includes notes on her nutrition and how well she slept. She also records the time posted by other swimmers. At the end of the each week, her coach goes over her notes and add his thoughts. It's not just athletes either. When comedian Chris Rock is preparing fresh material, he will first appear at the small nightclubs dozens of times and tests hundreds of jokes. He just brings a notepad on stage and records which bits go over well and whether he needs to make adjustment. The few killer lines that survive will form the backbone of his new show. I know of the executives and investors who keep a decision journal in which they record the major decisions they make each week, why they made them and what they accept the to be, what they expect the outcome to be. They review their choices at the end of each month or year to see where they were correct and where they were wrong. Improvement is not just about learning habits, it's also about fine tuning them. Reflection and review ensures that you spend your time on the right things and make a course correction whenever necessary, like Pat Riley adjusting the effort of his players on a nightly basis. You don't want to keep practicing a habit of if it becomes ineffective. Personally, I employ two primary modes of reflection and review. Each December, I perform an annual review in which I reflect on the previous year. I tally my habits for years by counting how many articles I published, how many workouts I put in, how many new places I visited, and more. Then I reflect my progress on lack of theory thereof by answering the three questions. First, what went well this year? Second, what did not go so well this year? Third, what did I learn? 6 months later, when summer rolls around, I conduct an integrity report like everyone. I make a lot of mistake. My integrity report helps me realize where I went wrong and motivates me to get back on course. I use it as a time to revisit my core values and consider whether I have been living in accordance with them. This is when I reflect on my identity and how I can work toward being the type of person I wish to become. My yearly integrity report answers three questions. What are the core values that drive me life and work? How am I living and working with integrity right now? How can I set higher standard in the future? These two reports don't take very long, just a few hours per year, but they are crucial periods of refinement. They prevent the gradual slide that happens when I don't pay close attention. They provide an annual reminder to revisit my desired identity and consider how my habits are helping me becoming the type of person I wish to be. They indicate when I should upgrade my habits and take on new challenges, and when I should dial my effort back and focus on the fundamentals. Reflection can also bring a sense of perspective. Daily habits are powerful because of how they compound, but worrying too much about every daily choice is like looking at yourself in the mirror from an inch away. You can see every imperfection and lose sight of the bigger picture. There is too much feedback. Conversely, never reviewing your habits is like never looking into the mirror. You are not aware of easily fixable flaws, a spot on your shirt, a bit of food in your teeth. There is too little feedback. A periodic reflection and review is like reviewing yourself in the mirror from a conversational distance. You can see the important changes you should make without losing sight of the bigger picture. You want to review the entire mountain range, not obsess over each peak and valley. Finally, reflection and review offers an ideal time to revisit one of the most important aspects of behavior change: identity. How to break the beliefs that holds you back. In the beginning, repeating a habit is essential to build up an evidence of your desired identity. As you latch on that new identity, however, some beliefs can hold you back from the next level of growth. When working against you, your identity creates a kind of pride that encourages you to deny your weak spots and prevents you from truly growing. This is one of the greatest downsides of building habits. The most scared an idea is to us, that is, the more deeply it is tied to our identity, the more strongly we will defend it against criticism. You see, this is in every industry. The school teacher who ignores innovative teaching methods and sticks with her tried and true lessons, the veteran manager who is committed to doing things his way, the surgeon who dismisses the ideas of her younger colleagues, the band who produces a mind-blowing first album then gets stuck in a rut. The tighter who we cling to an identity and the harder it becomes to grow beyond it. One solution is to avoid making any single aspect of your identity an overwhelming portion of you, who you are. In the words of investor Paul Graham, keep your identity small. The more you let a single belief define you, the less capable you are of adapting when life challenges you. If you tie everything up in being and point guard or the partner at the firm or whatever else, then loss of that facet of your life will wreck you. If you are a vegan and then develop a health condition that forces you to change your diet, you will have an identity crisis on your hands. When you cling too tightly one identity, you become brittle. Lose that one thing and you lose yourself. You must, for most of my young life, being an athlete was a major part of my identity. After my baseball career ended, I struggled to myself. When you spend your whole life defining yourself in a one way and that disappears who you are now. Military veterans and former entrepreneurs report similar feelings. If your identity is wrapped up in a belief like I am a great soldier, what happens when your period of service ends? For many business owners, their identity is something along the lines or of I am the CEO or I am the founder. If you have spent every waking moment working on your business, how will you feel after you sell the company? The key to mitigating these losses of identity is to redefine yourself such that you get to keep important aspects of your identity even if your particular role changes. I am an athlete becomes I am the type of person who is mentally tough and loves a physical challenge. I am a great soldier transform you into I am the type of person who is disciplined, reliable, and a great on team. I am the CEO translates I am the type of person who builds and create things. Who, when chosen effectively, an identity can be flexible rather than brittle. Like water flowing around an obstacle, your identity works with the changing circumstances rather than against them. The following quote from Tao Te Ching encapsulates the ideas perfectly. Men are born soft and supple, dead, they are stiff and hard. Plants are born tender and planted, they are brittle and dry. Those whoever is stiff and inflexible is a discipline of death. Whoever is soft and yielding is disciple of life. The hard and stiff will be broken, and the soft and supple will prevail. Habits deliver numerous benefits, but the downside is that they lock us into our previous patterns of thinking and acting. Even when the world is shifting around us, everything is impermanent. Life is constantly changing, so you need to periodically check in to see if your old habits and beliefs are still serving you. A lack of self awareness is poison. Reflection and review is the antidote. Chapter summary. The upside of the habits is that we can do things without thinking. The downside is that we stop paying attention to little errors. Second, habits plus deliberate practice is equal to mastery. Reflection and review is the process that allows you to remain conscious of your performance over time. Fourth, the tighter we cling to an identity, the harder it becomes to grow beyond it. Atomic Habits by James Clear. Conclusion. The secret to results that last. There is an ancient Greek parable known as the Socrates paradox, which talks about the effect one small action can have when repeated enough times. One formulation of the paradox goes as follows: can one coin make a person rich? If you give a person a pile of 10 coins, you would not claim that he or she is rich. But what if you add another and another and another? At some point, you will have to admit that no one can be rich unless one coin can make him of or her so. We can say that the same about atomic habits. Can one tiny change transform your life? It's unlikely you would say so. But what if you made another? It's unlikely you would say so. But what if you made another and another and another? At some point, you will have to admit that your life was transformed by one small change. The holy grail of habit change is not a single 1% improvement, but a thousand of them. It's a bunch of atomic habits stacking up, each one a fundamental unit of the overall system. In beginning, small improvements can often seem meaningless, but because they get washed away by the weight of the system. Just as one coin won't make you rich, one positive change like meditating for 1 minute or reading one page each day is unlikely to deliver a noticeable difference. Gradually, though, as you continue to layer your small changes on top of one another, the scale of life start to move. Each improvement is like adding a grain of sand to the positive side of the scale, slowly tilting things in your favor. Eventually, if you stick with it, you hit a tipping point. Suddenly, it feels easier to stick with good habits. The weight of the system is working for you rather than working against you. Over the course of this book, we have looked at the dozens of stories about the top performers. We have heard about Olympic gold medalists, award winning artists, business leaders, life saving physicians, and star comedians who have all used the science of small habits to master their craft and vault the top of their field. Each of the people and teams and companies we have covered has faced different circumstances, but ultimately processed in the same way through a commitment to tiny, sustainable, unrelenting improvements. Success is not the goal to reach or a finish line to cross, it is a system to improve, an endless process to refine. In chapter 1, I said if you are having a trouble changing your habit, the problem is not you, the problem is your system. Bad habits repeat themselves again and again, not because you don't want to change, but because you have the wrong system for change. As book draws to a close, I hope the opposite is true. With the four laws of behavior change, you have a set of tools and strategies that you can use to build better system and shape your better habits. Sometime a habit will be hard to remember and you will need to make it obvious. The other times you won't feel like starting and you will need to make it attractive. In many cases, you find that a habit will be too difficult and you will need to make it easy. And sometimes you won't feel like sticking with it and you will need to make it satisfying. Behaviors are effortless, obvious, attractive is easy, satisfying. Behaviors are difficult here, invisible, attractive, hard, and unsatisfying. You want to push your good habits toward the left side of the spectrum by making them obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. Meanwhile, you want to cluster your bad habits toward the right side by making them invisible, unattractive, and hard and unsatisfying. This is a continuous process. There is no finish line. There is no permanent solution. Whenever you are looking to improve, you can rotate through the four laws of behavior change until you find the next bottleneck. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying. Round and round. Always looking for the next way to get 1% better. The secret is to getting results that last is never to stop making improvements. It's a remarkable what you can build if you just don't stop. It's a remarkable the business you can build if you don't stop working. It's remarkable the body you can build if you don't stop training. It's remarkable the knowledge you can build if you don't stop learning. It's remarkable the fortune you can build if you don't stop saving. It's remarkable the friendships you can build if you don't stop caring. Small habits don't add up, they compound. That's the power of atomic habits. Tiny changes, remarkable results.